Good morning, Storehouse family. I hope that you are doing well and enjoying the start of your week. I wanted to give you an update on a couple of things as we work our way back to our Sunday morning worship gathering. In this video, I want to give you three things. One, I want to give you an update, which is what I just said. So I want to give you an update. Number two, I want to talk a little bit about the reality of the update. And then number three, I want to just offer a word of encouragement. So moving on to the update. A couple of sermons ago, I think at this point now, it'll be 2 weeks ago, we announced that we will be resuming Sunday morning worship or our Sunday morning gathering on Sunday, June 7th. Well, since then, a couple of things, actually one thing has changed, and that is the date. We're actually going to move it forward. I think that's the way you want to say it. We want to move it forward. We're actually going to be opening Sunday, May 31st. That's the last Sunday of May. So make sure that you guys mark your calendars. Make sure that you help share this video, because all of the information that will be on this video is very, very important for you and those attending. So once again, we are moving our reopening date to Sunday, May 31st. That's the last Sunday of this month. I'm really excited. My team feels very confident, and it gives us still enough time to equip and train available volunteers for some of the changes that you're going to see and experience when we gather again on Sundays. So within that update, there are a couple of things that you need to be aware of before you get here to the incubator. I want to let you know that as we begin to gather again in May and June and throughout the summer, things are going to look a little different. Things are going to feel a little different. Our hope is that during this time, we would slowly progress back into normalcy. And so if you feel like it's a little different and weird, it's probably because it is. So here are a couple of things that you need to know as we make our way back to gathering on the 31st. Number one, we are going to be having 2 services for the first 4 weeks. So we're going to be offering or having a 9:30 a.m. service and an 11:30 a.m. service. Number 2, we will not be having kids ministry for the first 4 Sundays. This is so that we can minimize the amount of space that is being used at the incubator, because we're having to implement some sanitation policy and some safety policies. And so parents, should you decide to and are comfortable with coming back at the 9:30 or the 11:30, just know that your children are going to stay with you throughout services. That doesn't mean that we don't have things for you so that they can engage the sermon with you or alongside you appropriately. It just means for now we're going to close the second floor and not have kids ministry. In addition to that, it's going to help us figure out some attendance trends for this first 4 Sundays. As we begin to see trends, we might go down to 1 service and then slowly phase kids ministry back in. The way it's kind of looking is like we're playing with Play-Doh and we're trying to figure things out as we go, and we're trying to exercise as much wisdom as we can. We're trying to phase back in cautiously and carefully. And so in a nutshell, that's one giant first reason concerning the 9:30 and the 11:30. So again, we're resuming on the 31st, 9:30 a.m. service, 11:30 a.m. service, no kids ministry during that time. The next thing that you need to know is when you come into the incubator, you will have to wear a mask. That is something that the incubator has asked us to do. I'm not wearing one right now because I'm 6 feet away from our cameraman, Everett. But once we're done, masks go back on. And so again, the incubator has asked us to wear masks at the end of the day. this is still technically a City of McAllen building, so we want to honor them in that. Moving on to the next thing, I think this is the third thing in our list, is going to be the entrance and exits here at the incubator. To my left, your right, are the west side doors, and to my right, your left, are the east side doors. The east side doors are the ones near Main Street. When we resume our Sunday morning gathering, the west side doors will be the entrance into our Sunday services. When we are done with the 9:30 and the 11:30 a.m. service, you can go ahead and exit through the east side doors. On to our final piece of information for you on Sunday mornings, and that's going to be attached to this email or attached to this social media post. You should see a link so that you can register for one of the services, the 9:30 or the 11:30. In this time, we are going to be limiting the amount of people that we have in each service to about 75. That's including our volunteers. And so click the link so that you can register, so that we're aware of how many people are attending, so that we make sure our chairs are set up appropriately, because throughout this time, as I mentioned, things are going to look a little different. They're going to feel a little different. Even though we're coming back together slowly, even though we're gathering for Sunday mornings, we are still going to be promoting social distancing. It's going to look weird. It's going to feel weird. I'm with you. However, we want to continue to honor the incubator, government officials, certain guidelines, and so make sure that you pre-register for one of those services so that we are aware, and make sure that we plan or knock out the chairs as appropriately as possible. Okay guys, just to recap, maybe I spoke a little bit too fast, or maybe I misspoke on some things, so just to be clear and so we're all on the same page, here are the bits of important information that I gave you. Number one, Sunday morning services will resume on Sunday, May 31st, here at the incubator. Number two, we are going to be going or having two services, a 9:30 a.m. and an 11:30 a.m. service. Number three, we will not have kids ministry for the first 4 Sundays, so that we learn attendance trends and what we need or what we need to change. And slowly we're going to incorporate kids once again, or kids ministry once again. The next thing is, I think this is number 4, I already lost count. But the next thing is our entrance and exit. The entrance is the west side doors, the exit are the east side doors. And then finally, make sure that you pre-register for service clicking the link that's either attached to this email or the link that's on the social media posts, so that we know how to organize the chairs appropriately. Again, that's for the 9:30 and the 11:30 a.m. service. Okay guys, at the beginning of this video, I told you that I wanted to give you an update, and so I hope that's good news that we're resuming on the 31st. But I also mentioned that I wanted to give you kind of a reality check along with a word of encouragement. And so I just want to take a little bit of time to address those two things. As we work our way back to gathering once again, and as our city continues to open up, local businesses are opening up, salons are opening up, retail shops expand the amount of customers that they're able to have inside their stores. As all of that stuff opens up and more people start going out, hanging out, and being around one another, the reality is that you're going to see a rise or a spike in some of these cases. And the reason for that is because more people are going out and hanging out around one another. My encouragement is that I don't want us to respond with alarmism. It's going to happen. It's a reality in terms of, yeah, there's a risk as we go out that this is going to happen, that cases are going to spike, but I don't think we need to respond with alarmism. Instead, what we need to respond with is biblical wisdom in a way that not only honors our neighbor, honors our family, but honors those who we're around. As we look at the Sunday morning worship gathering or the Sunday morning gathering, part of the reason we are moving forward in implementing some of these entrance and exit strategies, some of these sanitation policies, is because we want to honor the incubator and we want to honor our city. And so as you make your way back in, with as comfortable as you are and however available as you are, let me just encourage you to exercise biblical wisdom for the purpose of not responding in alarmism, but responding with conviction, honoring our city and incubator, honoring one another. Because once we gather, here's the truth. I think I said this in another video. Same circumstance, but everybody's responding differently. And so we want to honor one another because, yeah, it's going to look different. It's going to feel different. And there are going to be some things that we just can't do yet because of certain guidelines that are still in place. This is the Valley. We love hugging, we love shaking hands, and we love giving kisses on the cheek. And those things aren't necessarily possible right now. And so what I want to encourage you on is to exercise biblical wisdom as you're going back into everyday life, as you are comfortable enough to make your way back to the Sunday morning gathering. So use biblical wisdom. Number 2, make sure that you honor and love your neighbor and one another well. I'm trusting you to not just be adults, but to be led by the Spirit as you interact, engage, and love one another. And finally, where I want to encourage you on is, even though we are promoting social distancing, we're not going to have markers, we're not going to have tape saying stand here, stand there. I'm trusting you as adults to exercise social distancing and biblical wisdom as we make our way to gathering together once again. Again, these guidelines that we have set up, the guidelines that we have been asked to implement, are so that we can not only steward the summer months well, but progressively and slowly and carefully and wisely work our way back into normalcy on Sunday morning. So again, it's going to look a little different. It's going to look a little different. It's going to feel a little different. Everyone's going to look like a ninja, and that's okay because we're starting to go back together to sing and listen to the preached word. So with that being said, the update, May 31st, services resume. The encouragement and reality is to not respond to alarmism, but exercise biblical wisdom, because this is something that God through His Word presses into us as Christians in light of everything going on around us. That's all I have for you, Storehouse family. I love you and I miss you, and I'm so excited about the 31st that I hope to see you. One last thing, actually, before I let you go. If you are not comfortable joining us on the 31st yet, you're still, maybe you have small kids, or maybe you might be older, or you're just a little hesitant right now, hey, I want to let you know that's okay. We're going to continue to provide our Sunday content online so that you can continue to follow along with the sermon series or wherever it is that we're headed in the month of June. And so just stay tuned on the website for all of that. Again, that's all I have. I love you. I'm looking forward to the 31st. I'm praying for you and our time, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Love you guys.